Brian English, Wappler Forum name Hyperbytes. In this module we're going to continue building our page content module. If you remember the previous modules, we've created our page structure and created our query. In the second module I've actually tweaked that structure even further and tweaked that query to return even more information regarding the status of all of the information. Now I want to start looking at using that information to be able to create a page content management unit for our system. So I've got our page content page already created, which of course is already in our admin area. I'm going to have to do two things. I'm going to have to first of all link that server action that we've created in as before. We're going to have to also give a facility to be able to choose which particular type of page we are going to deal with. In other words, if it's going to be a local history page or a local attractions or a business page or whatever. And the first thing I want to do is actually to go into our server actions, and if you remember, within our roles we had an all roles action, and all that all roles action did was to return all of the roles that we have within our system. As we explained, these roles actually align to our different types of page types, and the only ones that aren't relevant in this page management that we've got going at the moment is the administrator and the e-commerce. But these other 6 entries are basically the 6 types of page that our web application will have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that table. I'm going to actually drag it up into our page data so I get the right one to drag it. Okay, we'll move it. I'm going to rename that to all page types. Okay, and I'm going to be using that same query. We're going to but I'm going to add a condition here, because I want to say I want all of the role types except if the role is administrator and the role is that would be not equal to administrator and the role is not equal to our e-commerce, which was T, if I remember rightly. T for trader. So if we save that now and we just run that module, what we will see is that we've got completely the wrong thing. Let's just have a quick look at that now. Sorry, and that should be not equal. My apologies, it's a little slip up there. And there we are. It returns those 6 page roles that we want. We're going to use that as a basis for a select input on our page so that we can switch between these different types of page. So let's go into our page content. Actually, before that, also our page data query, if you see, we haven't actually added a security restrict in there. So let's just add some security onto there. Security restrict, and we're going to insist that it's an administrator that is doing this. And just as we do before, we're just going to go into our force them into that login action if they are neither logged in or they are forbidden. Right, page content. We need 2 server connects. Server connect, and it's going to be con page types. And we're going to go admin page data, and we're going to return all the page types there. We're also going to add another one in. We're going to have our main query, con page data, we shall call it, and that is going to call all of the data from that get page data query. But we are of course going to have to pass that a page type. And where we're going to get that page type, well, I'm just going to create that now. So I'm just going to quickly create the page, or save the page I should say. Let's now just add after a container, a row and a column. I'm now going to pop a form in there. Actually, we don't need a form. I don't know why I said that. We can just go straight into a drop down, a select in other words. Let's go for that. Bootstrap 5 select. We're going to get rid of those default entries because we really don't want them. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that select data source to that page data query. In other words, we're going to return, no, sorry, that is the wrong query. My apologies. We're going to set it to the page types query. You see there that gives us our role and our role name. And then from that now we can see the text field, that's what the person will see, will be the role name, but we're actually just going to send to our server action the actual role itself. Okay, so let's save that. We need to give it a name. If you remember in our server action here, in our page data, we decided that parameter that would be sent would be a get parameter called page type. So we're going to call this page type. And we're also going to give it a meaningful ID so we can recognize it easier, and you'll see why in one moment. Okay, so let's save that. We can give it a default value if we wanted as well. So let's say we're going to default to attractions or whatever. We'll leave that for the moment. So now what we need to do is we need to go into that page data query, and we need to bind that page type to the currently selected value within that select. So you see at the moment it's defaulted to attractions there, A, which means that the role selected there is A, and that will then be passed to that page data and it will return the data that we want. We can either add another row here or another container. I'm going to do another container. We're going to add a row and a column. And now I'm going to add a generator, a page, a bootstrap 5 table. And that table is going to be generated from that page data query. There's all of our details. Now there's a couple that we need to remove because they are actually objects. That last one, that images, because that is actually the images object, and our comments object. It's going to be a bit of an over-the-top table, but I'm just going to leave everything in there just so you can actually see what data has been pulled back, and to make it responsive and give it all the stripes and hovers and borders and etc. that we would want. Now we are there, we've got a page content being pulled through. I'm just going to fire it up to make sure everything's working all right. And what we should have is history doesn't show anything, business doesn't show anything, attractions doesn't show anything. Sorry, local attractions is what we find. So business, nothing. Buy, sell, nothing. Members, nothing. So that shows that query is sending that, right, just by chance, and it's the page title which shows L is the attractions, and that happens to be default, which is why we see that entry initially. So pop back into Wappler now. We can see that we've started our process. We built a table. We obviously are going to need to be able to to edit this information as an administrator. So we're going to be adding an edit action into this. We then need to have another repeat under this that we can open, which allows us to view the images, add images, remove images. We also need to view our comments, delete comments, albeit we wouldn't normally add a comment within the admin console. We'd do that within a public interface. And also be able to look at the reactions. So perhaps we might want to decide at a later date that we want to monitor the reactions, and if a particular post gets a lot of angries or whatever, we could then actually flag that up to the administrators as a post that's annoying people, and it may well be then that they would choose to either take that post down or address that with the particular user, or perhaps just reword that if necessary, because that might have been the cause, was just the wording of that. So I'm going to just start with the very basics here. I'm just going to pop a cell in here, and you probably guess immediately where I'm going with this, and I'm going to add a header in there. I'm going to take that text out. I'm going to go into that cell. I'm going to add, yes, a button. I'm going to add our Font Awesome icon, and that is going to be our crayon, our edit symbol, or pencil, sorry. I'm going to make that bigger, and I'm going to make it green. I'm going to take that word cell out. I'm going to take the word button out of there. Oops, Control Z is a great thing. And there we now have our edit button. If we hadn't added all of those fields in, that really would look a lot tidier, obviously. And I can allow you to be able to tidy that up a bit. One thing we can do is just to make that container fluid, so we have a little bit more screen space, just to tidy it up a little. We probably don't need to see the geo information in there. We don't actually need to see the page type at all, because we know the page type because that will match the select. And possibly even not at this stage to be able to see who the creators were and who are the editors. But that's the basics now of our page, and what we need to do now is look at our action to be able to edit that page, so we can update the information on that. And then once we've done that, we'll look at adding in image management, comment management, and our reaction management. So I'm going to leave that for the next unit. I'm going to keep these reasonably short and snappy, because the last few would be very long and very heavy going. So I look forward to hearing you or seeing you in the next unit.